Weather Bell Analytics meteorologist Joe Bastori. This was the red area we issued back on May 7th to watch for tropical cyclones reaching maximum intensity. Beryl reached it down here, but since then we've had Alberto, Gordon, Chris, Debbie, Ernesto, and I'm quite confident that Florence, when she gets into this area, is going to reach her max intensity also. And let me explain something, folks. Whenever you have a lot of warm water, and in general, the U.S. generated models love to drop troughs into tropical cyclones. And you saw that happen for several days. Now, back on September 1st and 2nd, we flipped the idea that Florence was going to recurve, and we started jumping on the idea it was going to come back to the west. But what happens is, not only do the models have a weakness and a bias to try to pick up storms, but they also can't figure out what this warm water is doing. They do to some extent. But what this is doing is it's going to pump, it loves to pump ridges. Remember that big heat wave in Europe? How warm the water was around Europe back in July? Right? Well, it's cooled down quite a bit. And of course, it's cooled down quite a bit over there. But this says pump the ridge here. And of course, if you get the hurricane coming into warmer than normal water, it will be stronger than normal in here at the time of the year that hurricanes can be very, very strong mid-September. Now, what I've been doing on weatherbell.com premium, been showing, and I tweet this stuff, and I want to do here on the daily update, is show you some of the analog storms. I started looking at it Saturday for this situation coming up. Storms that try to come in to the area from Jacksonville northward, and especially this mid-Atlantic states. Very, very rare to get hit from the southeast. Most of them are coming north at this time, right? Or they hit like this. But this is the 1903 Atlantic City hurricane. And I'm very familiar with these storms. And that's why when something like a Florence shows up and I'm looking at the pattern, I say, oh, we got to look out, right? There's a surface map when it's hitting over South Jersey, again, coming from the southeast. Here's the 1933 hurricane, and it came into Virginia Beach. Actually, it hit between Hatteras and Virginia Beach. It's a Chesapeake Bay hurricane. And here's the storm. Notice the big high to the north over here, right? You need that big high over the North Atlantic. Something that we pointed out in a preseason forecast, that even though there'd be less than normal activity here, the models were forecasting, at least the European was, a positive high pressure in the Northwest Atlantic. And this is known as the Newfoundland wheel to the old timers. So there we go. You see it approaching the coast and then making landfall here. This is August of 33. Here's Dora in 1964, and I was up in New England at that time. My dad was up there in semester break. My mom and dad. He was at A&M, so we we'd spend 2 weeks up in Rhode Island, and a big high was sitting over the northeast. But watch how this evolved. There's the trough. See the trough trying to get Dora. This is Ethel behind Dora. Right? You see that? That trough's trying to get it. It misses the connection. And so it goes off to the northeast, and here comes the ridge building over the top. There's that big high pressure system to the north, right? Here's Dora coming westward, and on September 9th, the only hurricane ever to strike the old coast directly from the east. Now, there have been tropical storms, but hurricanes are very difficult to do. And here is the landfall with that. Then there's Isabel, 2003 we know about, hit Hatteras. Gladys, here's a couple that turned away. Gladys in 64. Here's the 36 hurricane, which was an animal and came right into the niche and then turned out, but still really big problems from Hatteras all the way up the eastern seaboard with this monster. And there's Felix in 95. So we're showing you some that actually turned out. All hail the JMA, the Japanese model on the 23rd, and we showed this. It was all over the place with this. Said, get ready, week 3 and 4, the hurricane season's waking up because it had the upward motion coming into the western Atlantic basin. This is only going on for 2 to 3 weeks. I expect tomorrow's run to show week 3 and 4 subsidence returning again to the Atlantic basin. We put this out back a week ago yesterday. Put this out outlining the tropical storm development in this area. Tropical storm by Monday evening was supposed to be in here, and it was actually out in there. This is what we do for our clients. You see this, a week advance notice on Gordon, right? And this is what we put out September 2nd on Florence. Florence East Coast threat September 12 through 16, likely to be a major hurricane next week. And this was issued last week, and this is where Gordon was. We had that moving into there. I want to show you what we do in Florence here. Now, what are we doing now with all this? First of all, Gordon comes up here, and there's going to be a lot of rain with this. Gordon comes back into Arkansas and then turns northeastward, right? But what we're doing here is there's still a chance that it tries to get caught. I don't really believe that. We never bid on that yesterday. There were plenty of ensemble members to the west. And again, if you know what that warm water means, if you sit there and go, it's probably going to adjust the ridge to being stronger and the trough weaker to pick this up. So we've got a Category 1 tomorrow evening here. Category 1 still Saturday evening. Category 2, what is that? Monday evening south of Bermuda. And then, see, I think that when it's going to be stronger in its latter part of its journey, and then it'll slow down as it gets toward the East Coast. But I think that, I'm not backing down. I think that this is a September 12th through 16th. There is a hurricane threat along the eastern seaboard. I think this turns westward. It's going to become a major hurricane. So we'll see how that works out. Okay? Maybe I'm going to be wrong, but that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.